The kettlebell swing is another iconic movement in kettlebell training. Now, there's a few different ways to do it. You know, some have really strict form, like your hard style. Other, like GS, are trying to be as efficient as possible in order to use the least amount of energy. Mine is kind of a hybrid between the two. I like the strict form at the bottom, but I like to have a nice loose posture at the top in order to allow the kettlebell to only come as high as my hip strength will allow, or my hip power. So this is really a ballistic explosive drill that's encouraging hip explosiveness. So typically how I start when I have a client is I'll have my hands on my hips, and again, this is a hinging movement. You'll see some people come down and they try to bend, and they're squatting in order to get to the bottom or the back of the rep. You know, this I would call a squat swing, which is not something I use. I like to reinforce my hamstring and my posterior chain development. So what I like to do is hinge completely at the hips. I have soft knees, which allows me to get my hips as far behind me as I can. So what I'm looking for is this range of motion between the top of the rep, which would be completely center line, to the back of the rep, which you can see is about a foot behind my center line with my hips. So again, if you imagine there's a wall behind you, you're trying to touch the wall, and you're bending at the hips. I bend my knees a little bit just to get my hips farther behind me. So from here, and when I'm at the back of the rep, I'll explode forward, and then at the top, I'm not gonna lean back, causing a lower back extension. What I want to do is have a completely neutral spine at the top of the rep. So what I do is I flex my core, I flex my posterior chain and my hamstrings and quads, and I'm just gonna hold this position. And at this point, when the kettlebell is about 45 degrees, is when I should already be upright. If you're finding that you're not completely upright until the kettlebell is at the top of the rep, it probably means that you didn't pop your hips fast enough. So really quick, I'll just show you. At the start of the rep, nice neutral spine. Gonna keep my chin down. There's no mirror in front of me, so I'm just gonna have my neutral spine because I don't need to see myself for this drill. All right, so kick it back. It's about a foot in front of me. I'm gonna hike it like football. Blast my hips forward. So a nice neutral spine. Now, if your hip explosiveness is not enough to get the kettlebell to be about, or your arms to be parallel with the ground, let's say that you explode, and this is the height that you get to. That's the height that you get to. I don't want you to use your arms, shrug your shoulders in order to get the kettlebell higher. There's nobody with you. All that matters is that you're doing the kettlebell drill properly. So work on that hip explosiveness. If it doesn't go that high, then you need to explode faster. Don't cheat and shrug your shoulders, use your arms. If your arms are getting really tired during this drill, you're probably cheating. So just keep that in mind when you do it. So one more time. Do it from the side. Hips back. Exploding up. So after you get the hinge movement down, this will feel a lot more natural. It will take some practice, so just be ready for that. The one-hand swing is a variation of the two-hand swing. So the big difference here is that what's gonna happen is as you're swinging, whether going up or down, your upper body is gonna wanna rotate to follow the weight. So what we do is do an anti-rotation. So instead of letting our bodies rotate like they want to naturally, we're gonna fight against that, pull our shoulders straight, keep them tucked and down, and try to keep them from twisting as you go down. There'll be a little bit of twist no matter what, but you just want to fight against it so you don't have a full spinal rotation at the bottom or top of each rep. So really quick, kick it back. Same movement as our two-hand swing. Big difference again is we're trying to fight that rotation. This would be a rotation, and we're not working on that. We're working on core stability and anti-rotation right now, so really try to fight. Another thing, just like with the two-hand swing, you're not shrugging to get the weight up. Keep your shoulders down and back. This is proper position. It's tucked, keeping your shoulders safe. All right, so keep that in mind while you're doing the one-hand swing.